Hi, this is Marie, and I'm one of Sherri Baldy's designers, and I have a video to share with you today. And today we're going to be featuring this wonderful stamp set by Sherri Baldy, the MYB 916. She's an adorable little bestie, and we have some cute little images and sentiments. And we're going to be using the owl today. I'm going to be creating a pillow box, and I'm going to show you how I colored this little owl. She'll make a perfect card or any kind of a project. But I'm going to be doing a pillow box. And I'm using my Misty. I'm going to be stamping this with Memento Tuxedo Black on Express It paper. You can use your acrylic block if you have it to do this. I just like the precision that you can get with the Misty. Positioning and now inking my stamp, and you'll notice what a crisp, beautiful line that this particular stamp set has. You'll find some stamps leave kind of a blurry line that does not have a crisp line, but this stamp set by Sherri has an extremely beautiful crisp line, as you can see. And isn't she adorable? I absolutely love her. We're going to start with a base coat using Copic alcohol ink markers, and it will be an E30, which will be our highlight. And we're just putting down a thin coat in order to establish our base coat. It will be easier to blend your colors. You know, this is a very whimsical little owl. It isn't necessarily a realistic looking owl. It's whimsical, and that's how we're going to color her. We're going to be mapping where we're going to be wanting our shadows, like under the neck, under the little wing, and around the outer edges, because we're going to want this image to have dimension and not have it appear flat. Under the little bow, in between the eyes. You're going to want those eyes to pop, so some darkness around them will allow the eye itself to pop. Because when I think of an owl, I always think of big eyes. So I'm going to put some whimsical little texture wings there, and they're just tiny little V-shape with a very tip of that Copic marker. Not the side, it was just with the very tip. And we're still mapping this with our mid-tone, so we can make some changes if we want in our shadows. Now I'm going to actually lay down my darkest color, my shadow color, my E44. And I'm going to go right on top of what I laid down for my mapping. Just exactly right on top of it. Again, this is what's going to give your little owl dimension and make it pop and make people's eye go toward that focal image. Now, again, right over the top of the the little V shapes that we placed, and over the top of where Sherri has her little light feathers on the chest. And you do that with the tip again. Now we're just blending out a little. And as we add our E33, we're doing it on those little feathers at the below the little V. And as we go lighter and lighter, we'll always do it kind of below, not on top. Because you're going to want the little feather to kind of pop up and have dimension and stand up from the rest. And you do that by having your very lightest color just above the shadow. Blending out a little now. Again, very lightly. If you don't feel you have enough of a soft blend, do a tip-to-tip method by taking your lighter color and touching it to a darker color. Always light touching to dark, and you will not damage your markers. You'll just get a color in between the two. That's called a tip-to-tip and a bridging technique. Again, I'm darkening those shadows. I really like contrast. I think it makes those images pop. So I like to usually go over mine a few times. See how much dimension and how cute this little owl is. And as I darkened it, I'm going to just kind of blend out again with some of my other tones in that same order. The E33, then the E31, and the E30. Now I might want to have some darkened just a little bit more, so I'm using my E44 now just to go over the top again. This image is very small, so you're not going to want to have big flicking motions ever. You're going to want to just keep them really small. Now those adorable eyes, when I think of an owl, I think of the eyes, always. So you want to have eyes that really pop. And I'm doing the YO2 on the outer rim. And on the inner rim, the YR12. I think these colors go so well together and they'll blend nicely. See how that just kind of pulls out and makes those eyes pop. Blending back out now, just to kind of blend it all together, that and the little beak with my YO2. We're going to color the bow, and you'll notice that bows are made of valleys and mountains, and you're going to put your shadow side just where Sherri has her lines drawn. The shadow goes just on top and below that. And you just blend out, always with your lighter colors below that, reserving the part just above the darkest line for your very lightest highlight. We mapped it, now we're putting in the shadow right on top of that very darkest area. Blending with our mid-tone just below our shadow and then our highlight. So this way you're still going to be able to see your peaks and your valleys. Now this is totally optional. I'm taking a little white pen and just really popping up this little whimsical owl with some opaque white just above where my darkest little V shape was. But that's totally optional. I think they popped nicely before as well. Now I always like to darken the eyes a little bit, so I take a 0.03. That's my favorite multiliner. And I'm using Copic, and that will work. Shinhan puts one out too, and they're compatible with your markers and will not damage them. I'm just putting a little bit of a white touch on that reflective light. It's right over the top of what Sherri Baldy did. Oh, isn't this adorable? You can color it with blue in the background, give sky, or anything, but I'm going to be taking a pencil and just above where the wing is ending, I'm sketching out just a really little rustic, whimsical log for her to sit on. I never like to have my images just hanging out there in midair. I've always liked to ground images. And this does not need to be super realistic looking. It's just fun. Some people are concerned about their damaging their markers by going over pencil with their markers. So I take my little multiliner and once again just color over what I have sketched. And then I will let it dry and erase it. And then I'm going to take just my little brush and brush off all the residue from the eraser. And you're good to go with your Copic markers. You will not damage your markers or discolor them. It's more of an issue, I believe, of discoloring with some of the pencils, but this will not discolor. Copic is, Multiliner is totally compatible. Now when you're doing your little log, you're not going to want to be super smooth on your blending. You're going to want it rustic. You're going to want to have some little nooks and crannies and branches, and so make your strokes more of a linear fashion, like the wood grain would be, but avoid over blending on this, because you're going to want it rustic. And again, this is a whimsical little log. I'm going to add a little bit of red because I don't want it the same exact color as my owl. So it's actually brown tone, but it has a little bit of a reddish hue to it. And I'm darkening it with my E44, and I also added some E19, a little more grayer tones in there, just to give it some depth and dimension. Blending it just a little, but not over blending. Wanting to reserve the grain of the wood. Okay, now isn't she cute? She's grounded. And we're going to put on a sentiment. And I'm going to put that right below my little owl. And isn't she adorable? We're positioning it. And this is my finished with my sentiment. We're going to be using a pillow box tool by We Are Memory Keepers, but I want you to know that this would make an adorable card as well. And now I'm going to just quickly make the pillow box. I'm using a 6x6, and I'm punching it and scoring, moving it over that arched over to the little what they call nook, and repeating the process. And we're going to move it over to where the new punch fits into the nook again, right there. We're going to punch and score for the circular. Now you're going to need to flip your paper over, not just turn it around, because you're going to want to be consistent with the circles, which will become your tabs. You're going to want them to be the same size, so you will actually flip your paper. And then you're going to make one little punch so that you'll have it easier when you try to open up the little flaps. Now you're going to want to fold those over, nice crisp, and fold where those little flaps are going to be folded down too, so that it will be easier after you glue them. You take your scissors on that very last one, and you'll already have a mark where you cut. And that's just on the little flap that you're going to be gluing. And then fold them down, get that nice crisp thing. And I like to use score tape, but you can use red tape, anything that's really super strong, because once you fill it full of candy or nuts or any kind of a treat, you're going to want to make sure it doesn't fall apart. I have great luck with either red tape or score tape. Fold those over, and then I'm going to run my little score tool over just to make sure it's a nice, good, firm. And then fold the one with the little punch, hole punch in first, and the other one on top. And people can get into the treats really easy that way. Then we're going to take our little decoration, that our focal image, and I'm accenting it with orange. We're going to adhere that to a mat. We're punching in, just going to punch in a hole at the very top. And then we're going to apply our jute tape through there. I think I'm going to put a little bit of a jute tape because I really want it to be kind of rustic. And I think that fits with the fall theme so well. So we're going to thread that jute in there now. Popping it in, making a little tie, and then wrapping it around our little pillow box. Again, a rustic kind of a bow. You don't have to be real careful at this step. And there you have an adorable little gift that you can give to your kids' classmates or teacher or your own co-workers. All of us are kids when it comes down to having a little gift. I look forward to doing another video with this very same stamp set, coloring this adorable little Besties. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and come back soon.